Welcome back to Uncontested Investing. I'm Tim Harris. Thank you so much for coming back by. Remember, click below, like, subscribe, comment, share, give us a rating or review. Let us know what you think. Today, I've got a virtual real estate rock star, Lori Greymont. Lori, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You find the place all right?
It was a little difficult.
All right. So, Lori, I know a lot about you, but the audience may not. Why don't you just tell them a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am a real estate investor, developer, recently started a TV show, and I've been doing it for about 30 years, every type of real estate, multiple market changes. And it's just something that is inside of me that I love sharing with people.
Thank you for keeping your introduction short. Some people, I say, tell them about yourself, and they'll go for like 8 minutes. And I'm like, all right, this is not an autobiography show. It's uncontested investing. I start every episode with the bottom line up front, the bluff. So in the Marine Corps, we brief generals all the time. And you never bury the lead like you're selling a room, right? You have to, most important thing up front in case they had to leave. So I want you to take up to 2 minutes and just talk to the audience about things you're seeing in the market, things that you think they should be doing, things they should be avoiding, kind of the 2-minute summary of, I guess, what we're going to talk about for the next 45 minutes. Good?
Good.
Go.
So we are seeing some different things. So most of my market right now is in California. And I think we see things before a lot of the rest of the nation does. Right now, we're seeing a little bit of a resurgence. People are getting out. They want to get that house. They're hopeful the interest rates are going to drop, but they still kind of want the deal. And so whatever you list your price at, they're still trying to negotiate. So instead of our old philosophy where you list it low and you get multiple bids, now you have to list it a little bit higher than what you really want and then negotiate down to that price so they feel like they got something. The other thing, if you're running a business, stay lean and mean. Right now, you have to be able to recreate yourself. You have to be able to shift when the market shifts. We don't know where we're going. You know, inflation is good, it's not good. We've got the whole OPEC oil currency thing. So stay lean and mean. And then join in relationships, like people that have their fingers on the pulse. You know, be part of masterminds, education. One of the things I've always said is relationships are recession-proof, because if you're in relationship, you know what you know, and you don't want to be on the other side where you don't know. So that's mine.
So relationships, big thing for me. I mean, coming from where I came from, and I always say there's just so many nice people in this business that will just help you without charging you a bunch of money. And for a while there, I don't know if you still do, the San Jose REIA. Do you still have that?
We still have it. Yes, we're virtual. We never went back to live, but yes, we still run that.
Tell me about that.
So the whole idea is that if you educate the industry, the ship rises together. And so the whole goal is to make sure that they're educated in the market, making wise decisions, not going to get caught if the economy changes quickly. And so we bring in top-notch speakers virtually now that allow the education.
We need your help. Wherever you are, stop what you're doing right now and rate us on whatever platform you're listening on. Take a screenshot of your review and click the link in the description for your chance to win some Uncontested Investing AirPods. A winner will be picked on July 11th. Now, is San Jose, is that where you're buying houses? You are buying houses, or I thought it was Vegas. I get confused.
Yeah. So I physically live in Vegas, right? Live where you want to, invest where it makes sense.
Right.
And so I still invest in the San Jose Bay Area market. I have quite a few investments going on from commercial to residential. You know, if you're going to spend an hour and you can make $50 or you can make $1,000, you might as well go to the market that you can make $1,000. Right. So I stay in the San Jose market.
Very cool. And if we throw the lower third up here on the screen, it says TV host. Tell me about that.
So San Jose REIA really fit what I wanted to do, where I could help people, I could help businesses, I got to connect. You know, I always said if I could make money going to lunch with people, that would be the ideal job. And that's sort of what the San Jose REIA is I'm connecting investors with business leaders. And I thought, how can I take this national? And so then I thought, well, TV would be a great way to take it national. And I love Shark Tank. I love the whole way. And I'm always yelling at them, take the deal, take the deal.
So are we. Even my 13-year-old is like, Dad, that's a good deal, right? I'm like, yes, he should take it.
Yes. And so I just kind of decided that I was going to create a show that was like that. You know, as investors, you get a good deal and sometimes you don't know where to take it, how to get it funded, how to do that. Well, my experience, the experience of many people like you and others that I know, we know how to put the deal together. And so I wanted a place where, you know, newbies and experienced alike could bring a deal and we could negotiate and put it together. But the one thing I didn't like about Shark Tank is that the investors were fighting over the deal. I wanted the deal presenters to fight over the money because that's reality, right? You get a deal, you know, you've got to have really good terms to get that money invested. So I felt like that was more of a reality play. So I just put the show together and went for it.
Well, I mean, I remember talking about it with you, and I think it's a cool idea. I mean, because I tell everybody all the time, a good deal will find money, right? And it's when you have a deal that can't find money that you probably have a bad deal. I tell people, if multiple lenders say no to the deal, you should probably not do the deal.
Well, or restructure it, you know, and that's where bringing in the panel. So we have 5 different investors. There's 7 deal makers in total, but only 5 are on the panel each show. The experience there is vast and wide. And each one of us might see a way to make that deal a better deal or to restructure it to actually be a deal with less risk, whereas the person presenting it may not. And so it's not just are we bringing money, we're also bringing our wisdom.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we see it all the time at RCN. Someone may not have good enough credit, or their experience in heavy rehabs may not be there, but they're trying to get financing for a heavy rehab or ground up construction.
Yes.
And oftentimes we can help them see a path forward. It's like, yeah, we like the deal, but you need to bring in a general contractor and make them a partner, right?
Yes.
And not just like I'm going to call this guy my partner. Let's create a new LLC and loan to that LLC and combine. And I think, to your point, a lot of people don't see that it's not always just renegotiating the price that gets a deal done. There's so many other aspects.
You know, usually the last thing that should be negotiated is the price. I've been awarded one, you know, taken down many deals where my price was actually lower than other people, but I met the need of what the seller really needed. And when you look at it as how can you serve them instead of how can I get this for the lowest price, it changes the dynamic of the conversation.
So it's not just about money?
Well, there has to be money, you know, and you can explain that to them. Of course, there has to be money because you're not in it for no profit.
Right.
But, you know, there's fairness in there too. You know, something simple like, how about I pay for a moving van to help you move? Or, oh, you're doing a 1031 exchange? Okay, I can wait to close for a year till you identify your property. You know, just coming up with terms beyond the money that makes it a better deal.
You know, a lot of people do come on the show and talk about people over profits. They talk about it's a numbers game and a people business, but it really does ring true. If they have a timeline, meet the timeline first, then talk about the money.
Yes.
It's like with us, we're experimenting with some of these quicker close fix and flip loans, and we're an under promise, over deliver company, right? We don't want to take your appraisal money and then not be able to fund the deal on time or not be sure about it. And I was telling the CFO the other day, I said, look, I think if somebody says, can you close in a week? We need to just come up with an offer that we can. And that offer is going to be a lot more than our normal, because our normal fix and flip right now, I think we're putting it out at like 85 of the purchase and 100 of the rehab, 85% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab, and the rate's like 10 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
If you call a hard money guy that wants to close on Monday, you know, he's going to be right now 14 and 3.
That's right.
So I was telling the board, is like, look, you know, it's the old adage, there's good, fast, and cheap, and you only get 2.
2.
Right? So when the customer's on the phone and I say, can you close next week? Yes, it will be not cheap.
Yes.
then the customer can say, well, what if I got an extension? Well, then it won't have to be as fast, so we can add cheap back in there, or cheaper, I should say.
Yeah, I know. I think that makes absolute sense. And when you take it, I mean, anybody who's in business understands that you need to have a choice, and can't always get your consequences. You make your choice, but you don't get to choose your consequences. So you negotiated it for a fast close. Well, now it's going to cost you a little bit more. So yeah.
I set a table on fire at Investor Fuel this week. One of the guys,
literally or figuratively?
Figuratively. I made everyone laugh.
You never know. You got to ask these questions.
With me, you don't know.
I know.
A guy asked a good friend of mine, Mike Flora. You know Mike?
I do.
The Marine out of SoCal. He's like, oh, Tim, we need that 80% DSCR money. And I said, tell you what, you start buying at 80% again, and I'll start loaning at 80% again. And everybody at the table was like, ooh, you got you. But like, that's the truth, right?
Right.
Nobody's out there buying at 80% right now.
No.
We're in an inclining rate and declining value situation.
That's right.
You don't pay 80%. That's what you do in a declining rate, inclining value situation. And so by saying that, I got it through to him, like, stop asking me for that. I can do 75% right now. It's still historically really good.
That's amazing. Yes.
Right?
For sure.
But let's do business. And by the way, make sure you're doing business with someone already before you ask them to change their rules. It's you don't get to walk into JP Morgan and say, tell you what, I'll take that credit card, but I need 5% interest. They're like, excuse me?
What are you? Yeah.
We don't have one of those.
Yeah.
What do you want, right? All right, so we're going to take a quick... go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the only reason people are asking for the 80% is they're not buying right, or they're still trying to clear off old inventory. So...
And I don't want to be where the can gets kicked.
That's it.
I don't think any of us do.
No.
So let's take a break. Stick around. We'll be right back. We need your help. Wherever you are, stop what you're doing right now and rate us on whatever platform you're listening on. Take a screenshot of your review and click the link in the description for your chance to win some uncontested investing AirPods. A winner will be picked on July 11th. Welcome back to Uncontested Investing. I'm Tim Herridge. I'm still here with Lori. Lori.
I'm still here with you.
We mentioned earlier, or you mentioned, that California sometimes leads the way.
Yes.
And I love that because my good friend Rick Sharga talks about oftentimes trends begin in California, and then they go over the Rockies, and then they go up to the Northeast, and then they eventually do bleed through the Midwest and into the Sun Belt and into the Southeast. And the February housing numbers posted a technical median home price decline year over year. But when you looked into the data, it was the West was down, the Northeast was down, the Midwest and the South were actually up. I think the Midwest was up 5-6% year over year. Do you feel like those declines will bleed over, or is the lack of inventory and the affordability? What's your feeling on the market? I'm trying to build on your comment earlier without putting words in your mouth.
I know. So first of all, I don't have the crystal ball, which we all wish we had.
I told you to bring it.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, back before 2008 happened, about 2006, I was following trends, and it seemed like whenever California dropped, Texas would go up. And so I thought I was going to be brilliant, and I moved all my money to Texas. And of course, 2008 happened nationwide, So there was no way to look at history and say, this happened before, this is what's going to happen now. What I've seen in the trends last year, April-ish, all of a sudden when the interest rate hikes stopped our closings. And I kind of tooted the horn to everybody nationwide to watch out. And they're all like, oh, no, we're fine. And come August, September, they're all saying our closings have stopped. So I think there's going to be some fallout nationwide. I mean, you can't go to an 8.5% prime when people are conditioned to think that 4 is normal. That's not normal.
Right.
So we have to get past the psychology piece of it. And you still have sellers thinking they're up here. You still have buyers thinking they're getting the deal of 2008. So somewhere it's going to come into the middle. So I do think we're going to see some price decline. I don't know that it's going to be catastrophic, but it is happening. And I think you have to be solid on your price. Don't underprice thinking you're going to get bid up. I think those days are gone.
Yeah, in certain markets, I mean, and it's always hard.
Yes, there's no real estate market. It's
right. Thank you. Because in my position as a national lender, it's very difficult because you don't want to make the same loan in Cleveland that you make in LA. Right. You don't want to make the same loan in Denver that you make in Miami. And it's difficult. One thing I want to talk about, so you said you had some Texas investments. Mm-hmm. So you know all about our property taxes.
Mm-hmm. They're terrible.
Whoa, but this year?
Insurance is more than in taxes.
Yeah. Well, this year, some of the increases are scaring me. I have several houses that the property tax valuation has gone up $200,000 or $300,000 in the last couple of years. And for the listeners that don't own Texas property, that's $4,000 to $6,000 a year. Yeah. Right. So that's $500 a month of my cash flow. Now, me personally, I'm pretty fortunate. We didn't overborrow in the run-up. We kept our LTVs, pretty low. Our DSCRs were pretty strong. But if you had a 1.0 DSCR in Texas or a 1.1, you're upside down.
Significantly,
now.
Yeah.
Between the property taxes and the insurance increases.
Oh, the insurance. I mean, even in Florida, the insurance, it's huge. It's more than my property taxes.
Right.
And, usually your property taxes are your largest chunk, other than your mortgage. It's really making it hard.
Yeah. So I think I was telling some investors last week, it's just time to really pay attention to your cash flow.
Yeah.
I was listening to the CEO of Apollo Global this week on Bloomberg, and he said, look, we believe in everything we're in, but it's time in the market to optimize what we already have. And he called their policy right now, no new toys, right? Don't go buy another business right now. No new investments, really. Yes. Let's make sure what we have is optimized. And, I'm a great example of it. I'll put myself down. I mean, last year, I didn't protest my property taxes, but everything was great and cash flowing and I was busy. This year, I'm protesting my tax. It's optimization time, right?
For sure.
How are you seeing, I know you have a lot of national customers. Mm-hmm. What are you hearing with market rents, cash flow, et cetera?
So, it's kind of funny because I see people marketing products where they're like, oh, it's a 4 cap. Oh, it's a 6 cap. But yet new money is coming in at 8. And I'm thinking, okay, who's buying that? And it's the new investors that don't understand you're not going to get cash flow in those situations. Right. And I'm also seeing people look for interest-only loans in order to maximize the cash that's coming in. They're doing seller carrybacks where, maybe they do a balloon payment rather than having to pay that. As far as what they've already owned, they're repositioning by selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people have to understand, too, if you look at the median home price, everybody talks about 08, and then they'll talk about 09, but values didn't bottom till 10.
Right.
So, sometimes this stuff can take a while to shake through. And here we are, just like 1986, more multifamily deliveries due this year than ever before. And I'm kind of like, man, that's kind of what we did after the 70s, and we saw how that worked out.
Yeah.
And then I'm one of those, I'm not old. I was alive then. I wasn't in business, but I'm one of those history repeats itself. The savings and loan crisis. Look at what's going on with banks right now. So one of the things I struggle with with this podcast is, and web show, is diversity. This is an industry that 90+% of the people look like me. Mm-hmm. How have you attacked this industry as a woman? Mm-hmm. And what advice do you have for women out there that may be struggling in this industry?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it is a struggle. Everybody says get clear on your why. But being a contrarian, a woman in a male industry, I say get clear on your why not. Why not you? Why not be successful? Why not join up? Why not push through? So when you get really clear that you have the value to offer, the impact to make, nothing stops you.
Right.
Now, there are rooms that you walk into that you know you're just not going to be heard at the same level. It doesn't mean go cry and, get all emotional, because then you're fitting the stereotype.
Right.
It means handle yourself as a professional and realize if they don't value, there's another room that does value you.
That's right.
So that's, and there's stories, dealing with contractors. I had the fortune of actually being raised doing the rehab from the inside out.
Right.
My mom, would buy properties. We were her labor. So
me too. Not your mom.
Yeah. So I can hang sheetrock, I can mud, I can do tile, flooring, all the stuff. And so when I start getting a line of BS, I know when to call it. And, it's like right now I'm helping some investors that are in over their head. A contractor says, okay, I'll do it for X amount. And then he bills them 3 times as much. And, they're like,
I saw that post.
Yeah. They're just like paying him. And I'm like, no, guys. They're like, well, what if we lose him? I go, you find another.
So to summarize,
yes,
believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. It's anybody, whether you're male or female, you're only going to go as far as what you believe you're worth.
Amen. Yeah. So my wife has actually been in this industry longer than me. It's how we met. She sold me a house. I made more on the house. But anyway, it's been funny. So like the contractors, they would rather deal with me than her because she scares the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Because when a woman is unhappy, she's being a bee.
Yeah, of course.
Right. When a man's unhappy, he's being a businessman.
Right.
Right. So Jennifer knows that. And I'm telling you, you don't want to get on her bad side on a property because like I'm all about the relationship and stuff, and she's about our money.
Yeah.
and you ain't taking our money. It's funny. And then this one time, I won't say who it was. There's this regional lender that had done millions of dollars in loans for me on kind of fix and flip loans, and had never asked for her to sign the personal guarantee.
Yeah. And
then there was a loan that we were doing where it was in the company that she owns, because we still have separate companies and stuff. And mind you, this company's been in business 10 years longer, and it's our flagship company. It's the one that holds all the assets and all that. Well, on a personal guarantee, it had my name on it too.
Yeah.
I've never heard a lender almost cry on a phone like when she picked up the phone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She's like, it was comical. It was disgusting, but comical at the same time.
Right.
And that's why I asked that.
And you encounter that. I had a lender that wasn't willing to work with me because of a credit profile after I lost everything. But my best friend who had a worse credit profile, they were lending to him. And so I wrote a letter and I said, do you want me to go to the board of real estate and indicate that you guys are discriminating because I have a better asset profile than he does? And, that ended that.
Well, you got to be willing to stand up for yourself.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. People will treat you like you allow them to.
Right. And so if anyone's listening, we at RCN Capital and REI Inc. are trying to get more women and people of color on the show.
Yes.
And so if you're listening and you think you could add value, holler. Right? And same thing for you. Like as you're out talking to people, encourage them to come here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we got a pretty cool studio.
Yeah. Very cool. I love it.
To shift gears a little bit, where are you focused right now? I know you have the TV show. I know you're flipping in San Jose. I know we're in masterminds together. I know you coach and consult people. Like, I guess if you had to pick one that you keep doing tomorrow and let the other ones go, which one's Lori's passion right now?
Just helping people put the deal together. Somebody called me the deal diva, and I kind of hold on to that because for me, it's all about putting the deal together. And I love doing that. So helping people, if they've got something they know is a deal, but they're not sure how to get it over the finish line, or they're in a deal and they're not sure how to finish it. That's really where my passion is.
I love that. I love structuring deals. I hate doing them.
I know.
Like once we get it closed, like, someone else can figure it out. I know you loan money.
Yes.
I know that you buy houses. I know that you help people. I guess you just told me you were raised in this business, right? So is that what it is? Is like, it's just kind of what you know, it's what you feel comfortable with. What do you like the most about this business, other than putting the deals together?
Yeah, I think it's the impact. I remember in 2008, I was fixing and flipping homes in Atlanta. I was doing it remotely. So I lived in California, but I had teams.
Do you ever flip a house where you live?
No.
Okay.
It's easier that way, because if it's where I live, I'm going to be there on site, right?
I love it. I'm sorry. Because you lived in California, you were flipping in Atlanta, but now you're flipping in California, but you live in Vegas. Anyway, continue, please.
Yeah. So one of the things that I realized in 2008, 9, and 10 is that I was employing people. I was the one that was responsible for food being on their table in one of the biggest economic downturns of the economy. And that just really set a heart inside of me to be that impact. And I mentioned it a couple times, and I don't want it to just be kind of lost, but when you have a passion or inspiration to be out there providing opportunities for others, then that's what you do. And this is the field that I do it in because I am familiar with it. But it's more about the impact and creating, like my mom was a single mom, and we didn't have a lot growing up. But because of the skills she taught me, I've been able to create a life for my kids so that they didn't have to live in the poverty level. And I know that one house, one flip, one deal can change the trajectory of an entire family, not just for the person doing it, but also the people working on it.
That's awesome. Single mom. I mean, my mom.
Yeah.
Real estate agent. I mean, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, joined the Marine Corps because didn't really have a whole lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
Turned out pretty well. So in 2013, I gave a speech at the 5-Star Conference. That's ultimately how I met the guys at Invitation Homes in Blackstone and started B2 Finance. And one of the things I talked about was the economic impact of every flip.
Yeah.
I mean, because number one, realtors get paid, and we all know realtors spend money, right?
It's spent before they get to the transaction.
Oh, I know. I mean, my mom watching her, like, gosh, she could sell ice to an Eskimo, but she'd buy it right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so when you start looking at even the materials, right? So many of them are made and shipped and delivered here in America.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it's the reach of housing and the labor and I mean, even like I was talking to my wife, like the realtors, like the hairdressers and the nail salons benefit from their commissions, right? Like
the ripple effect. I mean, like thousands of people, and it's like, what keeps the economy going.
Yeah, I mean, people have money to spend at daycare. People have money to spend at the grocery store. Like that's a great point. And I think we as an industry, number one, we got to stop breaking rules and laws so that we look like a bunch of cowboys. Right. That's why I don't like bandit signs. I don't like cold calling. I don't like SMS, because most of the investors that do it don't follow the proper protocol.
Right.
And then there's a media story or a general consensus that we break the law, and then that just leads to a negative overview of our industry.
But I think on the flip side of it is that we have to get more active to get representation in those laws and rules that allow us to reach the people who really need the help.
That's a good point.
Because, it's like you almost get handcuffed to the point where somebody who has a house that they are in a situation and have to sell, they don't have a choice. One example is, we knew this lady who was in probate on her mom's house. She didn't have the money to pay the probate attorney. She didn't have the money to pay the mortgage. What does she do? It's not going to go on MLS because it has to go through probate.
Right.
Things like that. Whereas if we as an industry stand up and say, here's the benefit, instead of us being painted as the bad investor, we are providing a service to help those who really need it. And that's the message.
Which then, in turn, puts housing back into circulation for more people to live in.
That's correct.
We have a high percentage of homes that are just vacant throughout the United States, specifically in rural America. So that's a great stopping point. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
REI Inc. is a monthly business publication for real estate investors covering all types of real estate investments and strategies. It is the most comprehensive real estate investment publication on the market. All of the articles are written by the top leaders in the industry, so investors are assured of always getting the best information possible. Each month, REI Inc. also profiles the top companies in the industry and provides insights and data into key regional markets. Along with their sister platforms, the REI Referral Network and Highest Invest, real estate investors have exclusive access to off-market investment opportunities and national acquisition and disposition initiatives. To learn more, visit www.rei-inc.com, where you can also access the REI Referral Network. Also, be sure and visit www.highest-and-vest.com to view the latest exclusive off-market assets with near immediate acceptance decisions and closing strategies. You can also email marketing@rei-referralnetwork.com to request more information.
Welcome back to Uncontested Investing. Tim Harridge. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share, review. Let us know what you think. Lori, it is time for the Money Minute. Right. This is my favorite part of the show because so many people bring something that is like the good stuff. So imagine there's an entrepreneur, a young Lori, flipper, whatever, whoever you want to talk to. I don't even care. You know the audience. And this is the only 60 seconds of advice they're going to get all month. You got to pour into them. It's your go juice. Are you ready?
Ready.
Go.
I think the biggest thing is to invest in yourself, because you and your business and your life will only grow to the level of what you believe you are worth. And so for me, that's the biggest thing. And people are so afraid to spend some money to learn a new skill, to learn how to think, to value themselves. But that isn't spending money, that's investing money. And then the next thing is relationships. You know, Tim and I talk about relationships. I've told my kids all along, it's not what you know, it's not who you know, which is oftentimes people say it's who you know, but it's actually who knows you. That's what matters. So get out, connect, serve. If you serve, that's the currency of the universe. It's going to come back to you in spades. And you didn't even have to create a marketing plan. You just had to be true to you.
Okay, so did you copy me on the whole it's not who knows you, it's not who you know, it's who knows you? That's awesome. So I've given that speech twice in the last 12 months, and I get the whole audience. Like at one time I was at Kent Clothier's deal and had 1,000 people say the wrong thing. I said, it's not what you know, it's, and they all go, who you know, I'm wrong.
No.
Right? I know Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But he ain't taking my call.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I mean, I know who Donald Trump is. He ain't taking my call. Like it's so valuable. It's the reason I sign off every episode of remember your network is your net worth, and today you've been growing both. Because it's the only reason I'm here is I put myself out there and I got to know people and they got to know me. Right. And it's the reason we at RCN Capital, if you ever see me at a conference, you'll find me at the bar buying drinks, right? Like, because that's how you get to know someone. You sit down and break bread with them. You have a drink with them. You have a phone call with them. I'll take a 15-minute call with anyone. Yeah. I've got a little link. If you want it, email podcast@rcncapital.com. They'll send it to you because you never know. And I'll tell a little story. I'm kind of taking your time here. I'm sorry.
You're all good.
In 2000, we're off the coast of this country doing some stuff that the operational name is still classified. And I needed something fast from the national level. I pick up the phone and I call the headquarters, and the guy that answers is Gunnery Sergeant Luster. Gunnery Sergeant Luster had been my instructor at the Intel training school 4 years before that. And Gunny was the first one to ever teach me about the whole, it's not what you know, it's who you know kind of thing. And he used to say it in class all the time. He was mainly talking about your reputation in the Marine Corps and small intelligence circle. It's just amazing. Like, this was a pretty critical situation. And he answers, and I'm like, Gunny, it's Harridge. And he goes like, what's up, Harridge? I was like, oh, I need this. He goes, don't worry about Double Dog. You'll get it. Like, that's just like my most like powerful example. But I mean, now I'm in a position where my cell phone, I mean, there's billionaires in there that I can pick up the phone and call, or WhatsApp or whatever,
right?
And they'll reply. I didn't buy the phone number. Right? They actually know who I am, and they'll like reply.
And that's the key, you know, and that was actually something that I learned when I bought the San Jose REIA, and all of a sudden I had familiarity with a lot of investors. Like, they knew who I was, even if I didn't know who they were. They were bringing me deals. They were bringing me money. They were bringing things to put together. Then they would make introductions to the next level of people that I needed to talk to, that I wanted to talk to, that I wanted to be part of. And that's sort of the way that all this networking works, is that when you're serving them, so like you've helped these billionaires, now they'll take your call.
Right. Because they trust me. Yeah. They know me, they like me, and they trust me.
Know, like, and trust.
Yeah. So we are about to run out of time. Check the time here before they kick me out of the studio. I'm very interested in your experiences in cycles. When did you start investing?
I bought my first house in 87.
87. All right, so I was 11. Sorry, had to do that. Actually, 9.
21% interest rate, $500 down HUD. Gotta love it.
But,
yes,
great point. That house at 21% would have been a 700 or 7,000% return if you still owned it.
Oh, 1,000. Yeah, for sure.
And I use the example, Warren Buffett in 1971 bought a beach house in Laguna Beach. He paid $150,000 for it, and he put $30,000 down, and he got a $120,000 mortgage at like 7%. And this CNBC host asked him, well, why would you get a mortgage? You didn't need the money at that high interest rate. And he goes, I just figured I could do better than 7% with the money.
Right.
And it's like, it's amazing, right? And then he even broke it down farther and said, yeah, I sold that house for $11 million, from 150 to 11 million. Seems awesome, but wait. He goes, with that 120, he goes, I probably bought, it was either 3,000 or 4,000 shares of Berkshire Hathaway at either $3,000 or $4,000. Anyway, he bought $120,000 worth of Berkshire Hathaway stock. He goes, and he chuckles at this point, and he goes, and that's worth $750 million now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so we're in this environment where one economist I love to follow said, this is not a correction, it's a reversion. We're just going back to normal.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to shake out. I think we're going to be fine. But as you look at market cycles, as you look at rates, what's your general opinion on kind of where we are right now?
So I believe that we will see interest rates kind of stabilized and continue to bounce around 7 to 9% for a while. You know, I think that if you
well, 7 to 9% on which interest rate? Like
on like a 30-year fixed single-family home,
like an FHA loan.
FHA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard money is always going to be, I think, between going forward 12 and 15%. I think that we just have to recalibrate our thinking. And money is not expensive if you're using it as a vehicle. So you look at that, and then, you know, for those that are in long term, you're getting the inflation that's really offsetting your interest rate. So it's not as high as it really may be perceived. It's actual or real. So I just think that there's opportunity. It doesn't matter. Like I said, I bought mine first one at 21%, and I cash flowed that house $800 a month, even with that. So, you know, and that was in 87. So yeah.
Yeah. My personal opinion is, I think rates go flat to where we are right now.
Yeah.
I don't think the Fed will lower this year.
No.
But I do believe that they'll go flat, and flat equals stable, which then equals confidence and recovery.
Right.
And I feel like we may avoid the hard landing that everybody was afraid of, and it may be a soft landing. But not pay, like right now, our DSCR loans in the month of May are, I mean, we have some rates in the 5s. Wow. Most of them are going out around 6.25 to 6.5.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that DSCR is less expensive than owner occupied.
Right.
But we have a prepayment penalty.
Yes.
The owner-occupieds don't.
Right.
And so they're pricing in refinance risk.
Right.
So I think that owner-occupied rates will go down, this is my crystal ball, between now and December because the spreads will come in. Right now, the spread of the 30-year mortgage is almost like 3 points when historically it's like 1.5 to 1.75. But the servicer can't do all that work and then have the thing cash out in a year, right? So it'll be interesting. I think spreads come back in. I think rates stabilize.
I think that there's got to be alternative products too. You know, it's like after 2008, everybody thought that they needed to get the 30-year mortgage because we had all the adjusting arms that were supposedly the problem. And so I think that as the market kind of stabilizes in this higher interest rate, we'll see additional product lines come in where you get interest onlys and 5-year arms or 7-year arms back again a little bit more heavily.
I just hope we don't start making zero down stated income loans again.
You know, I mean, we're already that new lending where, you know, depending on your interest rate, you can have a better, or your credit score, you get a better interest rate. So if you're a higher credit score borrower, you pay market. You're a lower credit score borrower, you get a lower interest rate. So they're already starting some of that.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can avoid it. So we're almost out of time. Do you have any parting thoughts or parting shots?
Oh, wow.
Everybody loves that. They all think, oh, shots.
Shots, yeah.
Not tequila. I mean,
yeah.
like,
well, you know, I'll take that too. But, you know, as far as my thought is just get out there. You know, parking money on the sideline, waiting for the deal is the worst advice you could ever do. There's money to be made in every marketplace, but assess the risk to the reward and, you know, be active.
excellent. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm glad I finally got you in studio. We're out of time. That's it for this week. Remember, your network is your net worth, and today you've been growing both. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Uncontested Investing Show. Questions about today's episode or the podcast? Email podcast@rcncapital.com and make sure to follow RCN Capital on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. See you all next time. The preceding program is furnished by RCN Capital, LLC. The information provided is for general education purposes only and does not constitute any legal, financial, investment, or other professional advice. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by any speaker are the speaker's own opinion and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of RCN Capital, LLC. No information contained in this episode should be construed as financial, investment, or legal advice from RCN or any individual, author, host, or guest. You should always consult a financial advisor